Okay, so we can use these three databases of births, marriages and deaths, online databases of births, marriages and deaths, in conjunction to find out a lot more information about these people, about any family, but I'm doing in these Gallaghers because I have researched them recently. So I want to show you what we already have. And I produced a little family tree here. It's actually quite a big family tree of the Gallaghers, but it's this family in particular that we're interested in. So we have here Patrick Gallagher, do you remember, disappeared out of the Griffiths Valuation Revision books in 1889. I have him colour coded here in blue because that means he was in the Griffiths Valuation itself, not the revision books, but in the Griffiths Valuation. We discovered that he was married to Sarah. She took over from him in 1889 and disappeared in 1903 from the Griffiths Valuation Revision books. But we found out that she actually died in 1901, so we've got her dates up above there. She's colour-coded red, that means that she was in the 1901 census, 1901 or 1911. So was her son James, and James's brother Patrick. They were all in the 1901 census. If this was your family, if you were researching it, say James was your great-grandfather, if you're my age, James would have been born at about the time of your great-grandfather, you want to find out what happened to this family. Well, we know that he was married to an Ellen, so Ellen would be your great-grandmother, and you'd want to know what her maiden name was. And that's what we can use the databases of births, marriages and deaths to find out. You're not going to find it in Family Search. We need to go to Roots Ireland in order to do this. Roots Ireland is the best place. We're looking for a marriage, so click on to marriages. And we're looking for the marriage of a James Gallagher. So putting Gallagher in here. This database is a very unusual one in that it is spelling sensitive in some of these boxes, but not others. And it is not spelling sensitive in the very top one. So it wouldn't matter if Gallagher was spelt with a U, as it sometimes is. His name is James, and we know that her name is Ellen. So we put Ellen in, but don't forget that Ellen might be Eleanor, and this box here is spelling sensitive, so we might not find that. We know that they probably married in County Tyrone, and we also know, well, we actually know more or less exactly when they married because the 1911 census showed us they were married 8 years by 1911. But if we didn't know that, we could put in 1906 plus or minus 5 years. That will cover 1901 to 1911, the period between the two censuses, and we should get her somewhere. So clicking on search for the marriage, and there it is, 1903. With the current model of payments for Roots Ireland, I have already paid my subscription of £20 for a month, and incidentally, if you're thinking that, well, you might want to have it for more than a month, well, you can pay £20 for every month and it's cost something about £240 a year. That's an awful lot of money. So what I would suggest you do is that you have a splurge at it. You know what you're looking for. Take a month's subscription and get every Gallagher out of it you possibly can. Come back maybe in 6 months' time whenever you know more and have another month's subscription too. So, because it's costing us nothing, I can view that. Unlike at Groney, remember it cost me £2 every time and they didn't even let me keep it. And there's the marriage of James Gallagher, and Ellen's name was McCrossan. And she's Kinathan, wherever that is. Tullyard, he says he was married in, which is a bit odd because he should be in Bali. But that is him. You'll notice, incidentally, that we do not have a photograph of the marriage certificate like we did from Groney, and that's one of the disadvantages of Roots Ireland, is that somebody had to sit here and transcribe all of the information, and as soon as anybody transcribes anything, mistakes creep in, and they can't read the handwriting and they make mistakes all over the place. Also, they have a nasty habit of calling everybody 22. If you look at these records, everybody seems to have got married at the age of 22. Well, they didn't get married at the age of 22 at all. It's just that Roots Ireland have decided that anybody who wrote in that they were of full age, which is what they often did write in, which is what they mostly wrote in, if they were over 21, must be 22. which is a very silly thing to do. That catches out an awful lot of people. This man here, we know he was born in 1864, so he was an awful lot more than 22. Go back a little bit. Supposing we hadn't known her name was Ellen. Take Ellen out. See how many James Gallaghers got married in that time. 12 of them. 12 James Gallaghers got married in that period. And it very often is the case that you don't know who somebody's married to. So, can you do anything about that? Well, we can refine it down a bit more, because we know that his father was called Patrick. So if we put Patrick in under father's name, father's first name here, you could put in father's surname, and that wouldn't get you very far. Gallagher. Search. How many are there now? Now it's cut down to 4. There's only 4 of them. Well, we know that his mother's name was Sarah. Is that right? Mother's name was Sarah. So put in Sarah, right? And what happens? Click search, and you get none. Oh my! Well, isn't that terrible? Well, the reason for that is because Irish marriage certificates do not have the mother's name on them. So if you put in the mother's name into that database, they will start looking for ones with Sarah and don't find any, because there isn't any, because they don't put the mother's maiden name on there. So this is where you need to know what a certificate contains within it, so that you're not asking it to search for something that isn't there, because if you do that, you won't get the record at all, even though the record is there. Quite why Roots Ireland have a box for mother, whenever they know perfectly well that there won't be any mothers in it. I didn't used to be sure, but this covers not just civil marriages, it covers church marriages, and there's just a possibility that if you get married in a church, somebody might write down the name of the mother. I've never seen it yet, but I suppose it's possible. So there we take a mother out again, and we found that marriage. Now, could we find it at Groning? Let's have a little look. We're searching for a marriage this time. And we can put in Gallagher, and we can put in James, and we can put in that he got married sometime between 1901, when he wasn't married, in 1911, but we can only do 5 years at a time, which is, oops, 4. And we know that it's Strabane, registration district. So let's see what that gives us. Okay, 3 records, and there's 3 of them there. So 3 James Gallaghers got married in that period, and remember that's not all the way up to 1911. One of them was married to a Donald, one was married to a McElhone, and one was married to a McCrossan. Now we already know that it's this one because we found it elsewhere. So we found the marriage of James Gallagher and Ellen McCrossan in 1903 in Roots Ireland. And I've tried to explain that we have 3 databases we're using here, Roots Ireland, Family Search and Gronie. Roots Ireland is actually the best research tool of the 3. It's the most flexible because it's got so many different windows you can search with, and because it gives the records. If we've got the marriage of James, right, and we know that James was the son of Patrick, I wonder, was there any other sons of Patrick, brothers of James's, who also got married? Well, we can actually search for that. If I take out Ellen's name, and I take out James's name, leave Patrick in to find out, was there any other sons of Patrick Gallagher who got married? Well, looking back to the family tree, remember that old James actually got married quite late in life. He was born in 1864, didn't get married in 1903. We would normally expect people being born in the 1860s to get married sometime 20 years later. So if I go back here and put in, let's say, 1884, and search the 20 years after that. In order to do that, I need to put in 1894 in there and do plus or minus 10 years. So that will cover the period of 1884 to 1904, all the Gallaghers getting married whose fathers were Patrick. Click search, and in County Tyrone, we've limited it to County Tyrone as well. And there are 30 of them. Well, we could go up through all 30, I suppose, But we can actually, there's another little trick in Roots Ireland. If you go over here, you can search, you can cut down the search a bit more by clicking on that magnifying glass. When you clicked on that, you get a new window down here, and you could put in the parish. But in fact, if you remember, these marriage records were at Strabane Registry Office. So I'll click on Strabane's Registry Office and see how many of that 30 marriages, there's only 12 of them now. 12 marriages of Gallagher's whose fathers were Patrick, recorded in Strabane Registry Office between 1884 and 1904. And then you can actually start to go through them because there's only 12. Click on the view, because remember, it costs us nothing because we paid our £20 a month's subscription, and this Francis Gallagher was from Cornavaro. Well, that's no good. Click the next one. Sarah Gallagher was from Lisnacrite, wherever that is, don't know. Click the third one. Anna Maria, Anna Maria Gallagher was from Bali, daughter of Patrick, getting married to someone called Hugh McGettigan of Holyhell. Well, that's in all probability, that's another daughter of Patrick and a sister of James getting married. So you're extending the family tree outwards in that way. But we can do more than that. We know that James married Ellen McCrossan. I wonder how many children they had. It showed that there was 3 still living by 1911. 1 dead. Wonder what the name of the dead one was. So we can go to baptisms, and we can say that we are looking for the baptisms of Gallaghers born to James and his wife Ellen, and in the period they get married in 1903. So if I put in 1913 plus or minus 10 years, I can take out the Strabane Registry Office by going up to the blank bit again. That should cover all the children born to Ellen, because 20 years is a reasonable time for a woman to be having children. Click on to search. Oh my goodness. Never mind 3, they actually had 11 children by the looks of things. We can check this, however, because there might be 2 James and Ellens, so let's put in McCrossan. Of course, we can just look through every one because it's free anyway, but to save us the bother, if we put in McCrossan, down to 5. 5 children. Patrick, John, Edward, Daniel and James. And James was born after 1911, so he'd not be in that 1911 census. And if we'd go back to the 1911 census, is that it there? We've got Patrick, John and Daniel. Patrick, John and Daniel, how does that compare? There's Daniel, there's Patrick, there's John. Edward died. So you see again how we are using Roots Ireland as an excellent tool for finding births, marriages and deaths. Again, let me emphasise, you need to know what is in any of these certificates, and a baptismal certificate does give the mother's name. Not only does it give the mother's name, it gives her maiden name as well. So there's another way we could have found out that name McCrossan. If we didn't know that she was called McCrossan, we could have looked up the birth of one of the children and then clicked on any of the children here to see the certificate, or not the transcription of the certificate, and there is her maiden name, McCrossan. Let me just take out Ellen to see if that makes any difference. No, it's still the same 5 names. So, to summarise, in order to research births, marriages and deaths, you want to use the 3 online databases of Family Search, Roots Ireland and Growley. They each have their advantages and disadvantages. The main advantage of Family Search is that it is not spelling sensitive. It's totally free, of course, but the disadvantage is it only gives the indexes, it doesn't give the records themselves. Roots Ireland costs money, but it's only £20 for 1 month, and it is spelling sensitive sometimes, but not always. But it is a transcription, so therefore you might not have all of the records if somebody transcribed the name wrong. Grony On the other hand, although it costs £2 for every record, you can do an awful lot of searching before you actually have to pay for a record, and when you do pay for the record, you get the original record itself, so you can see exactly how it was written. So there you are, using Births, Marriages and Deaths, and using those three databases, you can make an awful lot of progress in researching your family history in Ireland.